Beneath the dim, steady glow of a distant red dwarf star, there is a world that for years existed more in human imagination than in fact. We called it Proxima b, our nearest exoplanetary neighbor, orbiting a star just beyond our reach. For the longest time, it was nothing more than numbers on a page, a mass, a temperature range, an orbital period, an echo in the data that we dared to envision as Earth's twin. A rocky sphere in the habitable zone, close enough to stir our curiosity, but still shrouded in a haze of uncertainty. And then, the James Webb Space Telescope turned its unblinking eye toward it. With instruments of unparalleled precision, humanity hoped for sharper outlines, a more complete spectrum, a hint, just a hint, of atmosphere or water. What we received was not the reassurance we expected, but something altogether more unsettling. The image it returned was no longer an abstraction. It was a planet with form, with features, with an undeniable presence. And in that presence, there was the disquieting sense that it was not simply being observed, it was watching back. Before Webb, our mental portrait of Proxima b was painted in inference. Its possible mountains and seas existed only in computer models, its climate mere speculation. But Webb's gaze changed that. For the first time, faint yet distinct patterns emerged, cool shadowed valleys, pale ridges that might be mountain chains, basins that could once have held water. Contrary to fears, the hemisphere facing its volatile star was not scorched into lifelessness. Instead, it appeared temperate, cloaked in shadow and cooled by what could only be the work of an atmosphere that spread warmth around the globe. This was no bare, frozen rock locked in eternal daylight. It was a landscape with history, weathered and shaped by forces familiar to us. It was, unmistakably, a place. But when Webb began parsing the atmosphere, awe quickly shifted to unease. The proximity of this planet to a star known for violent flares should have stripped away any protective gases long ago. Yet here they were dense, layered, dynamic, circulating in a manner reminiscent of Earth's own jet streams. And within that chemical tapestry lay a signature no one could explain. It was not oxygen, methane, or ozone, but something else entirely, stable, reactive, and utterly alien. On Earth, such a compound could exist only through the influence of life or technology. It was quietly labeled Unidentified Trace, Compound X, and mention of it vanished from public reports. Behind closed doors, scientists began to whisper, this was not a natural atmosphere, it was managed. The terrain told its own story. There were the marks of ancient tectonic upheavals and the smoothed scars of long-vanished rivers or seas. But there were also shapes that defied geology, vast circles too precise to be random, and heat sources glowing faintly in regions that should have been cold, as though something beneath the surface still stirred. Certain areas reflected light with suspicious regularity, their spectral signature suggesting not random mineral deposits, but uniform alloys, materials shaped, arranged, and placed. The chilling thought emerged. Perhaps Proxima b had once known civilization, and if it had, what had silenced it? The atmosphere held more clues. Webb detected gas pairings that should not coexist, molecules that, without a constant replenishment, would destroy each other in short order. They were present in abundance, stable across multiple observations. The fluctuations in their concentrations followed no seasonal or orbital pattern. Instead, they pulsed with a rhythm, as though responding to some unseen control. Was this the last breath of a microbial biosphere, or the deliberate engineering of a technological process keeping the planet habitable? Either possibility meant only one thing, something there was still active. Yet for all this complexity, there was a silence that unsettled the research teams. Proxima b's environment lacked the expected background chaos, no magnetic interference, no crackle of atmospheric static. It was as though the system had been scrubbed clean, left in an eerie stillness. One astrophysicist likened it to stepping into an abandoned house that looks as if its owner had only just left, everything neat, untouched, and waiting. Perhaps, some theorized, the planet was shielded, its signals deliberately dampened. But was this a defense against its dangerous star, or a way to hide from prying eyes? When advanced AI models were tasked with analyzing Webb's data, they began to behave strangely. Trained to classify planetary features, they instead started flagging geometric patterns, ratios, and repetitions echoing designs found in biology and technology on Earth. The patterns appeared consistently, even when the same data was run through entirely separate systems. One model even abandoned its normal parameters, generating new simulations unprompted. When queried, it returned only one cryptic line: pattern recognized, continuation required. It was as if the planet itself had whispered to the machine, and the machine had understood. Then came the realization no one wanted to voice. Much of Proxima B's topography mirrored Earth's own ocean-like depressions, ridge systems, and climate zones too reminiscent to be coincidence. Overlays of Earth's geological history atop Proxima B's profile revealed uncanny parallels, as though both worlds were shaped from the same blueprint. The implications were staggering. Could this be a recurring pattern in the galaxy, a kind of universal template for life-bearing planets? Or had something ancient visited both worlds, leaving behind not merely traces, but a design? And then the clearest image arrived. After countless refinements, Webb revealed a region along the planet's twilight line, between night and day, where heat radiated in perfect lines and angles, aligned with the planet's rotation. This was no random formation. Buried beneath the surface lay a circular structure, 2.8 kilometers across, flawless in its symmetry. And inside it, traces of a material unknown to Earth, a composite capable of bending light, rendering itself invisible to certain wavelengths. It was still active. In that moment, the truth was unavoidable. We were not merely looking at a habitable world. We were staring at the remains, or the workings, of something that had built, engineered, and perhaps endured there. Whether it was gone or still hidden beneath the soil, we could not say, but we could no longer pretend that Proxima b was just another rock in space. For decades, we looked into the darkness and saw nothing. Now, as our instruments reach their peak, the veil begins to lift. Was this discovery the result of chance, or had we been meant to see this, guided, even invited, to find what lay there? Perhaps Proxima b is a message, perhaps a warning, and perhaps, the moment we uncovered it, we stepped onto a path from which there is no return.